What is up, YouTube? It's your boy Alex here from Team Generations, and today we're going to be taking a look at Prominence Glare of the Azure Flames. This card is super awesome because it's really just like an unexpected card. In all honesty, there's not like a ton of reason to run this over, let's say, Spectral Duke or even Gurgit, even Aggravated at this point when maybe the Heal Guardians come out, but it is just such a masterclass in showing like why this clan in general can carry any boss unit. I mean, I think that even includes Ezel at this point in Standard. At least I know in Premium it's pretty good, but overall, I really like this. I think that it's like a fun, unique kind of way to play the game. Not a lot of people have seen this before, so maybe they're just not 100% attuned to like the guarding patterns of your Vanguard, whatever the case may be. And I'm just, really excited to play Gold. I'm really looking forward to the next Gold boss unit coming out in Clan Collection here in English. So yeah, without further ado, let's hop into the deck list and I'll show you guys how the deck kind of plays out. Alright, and before we begin, I just wanted to mention that we do have a TCG Player affiliate link down in the description below. If you guys are interested in purchasing any of the cards, I ask that maybe you do go through that to purchase. Absolutely no cost to you, help support the channel. And if you do enjoy the content, make sure to hit that subscribe button, possibly leave a like on the video. But let's move right along. So we're going to start off with the boss unit himself. No surprise here, this is going to be Prominence Glare of the Azure Flames. So this card is a little bit different. It's skill auto when this unit is placed on Vanguard Circle. Look at top 4 from the top of your deck, and then choose one card from them, call it to Rearguard Circle, and then put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. On top of that too, it gets an auto when it attacks on Vanguard Circle. Counterblast 1, discard a card from our hand and perform all of the effects below according to the number of rear guards we called this turn. 3 or more, this guy gets 15k and a crit until the end of battle. And then 4 or more cards, your opponent cannot call Sentinels from his or her hand to Guardian Circle until the end of that battle. So I know in obviously Spectral Duke, if your opponent's on grade 3 and such, you hit the requirement, like you get that extra crit. But this deck pretty much, even if you go first, you're going live, you're going really wide in this deck in general. So I find that the pressure that this kind of brings from turn 1 onwards is really decent overall, and I think the rest of the clan kind of carries this card. Discard 1 from hand kind of sucks. The counterblast is, it is what it is, but overall, I think the free call that satisfies 1, you need to get 2 other cards to hit that crit, and then 3 more cards. This whole deck just spams a field, builds a field really easily, so it's really not a hard requirement at all. You should be getting that 4 or more cards pretty much every single turn. So I like this card. I think that it's very interesting design. I think that it's cool that they finally gave it to us in English. I like that. I don't like when the promos are separate. This isn't a TCG, OCG kind of thing like Yu-Gi-Oh! Should be, all the card pool should be the same between the two languages. But moving right along, this is going to be 4 of, no surprise here, Bluish Flame Liberator Percival. So Percival literally carries this clan. It is such a good card. Basically, I'm not going to go over the skill, you probably know it by now, but essentially just getting an extra, what was that? Getting an extra, oh god, I can't think of the name, Excel Circle, being able to go a little bit more wide, just getting that Aglevel is just so good. It allows you to run Aglevel at a smaller ratio. I know a lot of people like to run it at 4. I think I would probably up it from what I have in my deck, but overall, this is just such a good card. You need this, you can pop it into Soul afterwards, be fodder for Aglevel, whatever you need. This is just enabling you, get that extra circle, go wider, get that little draw off, a little bit of a filter from your hand, which is really nice, and goes towards the counting of, the 4 or more for your Vanguard. Next up over here, I know we're using a lot of Counterblast, but I promise these are kind of the last ones that use the majority of them in the deck. This is going to be Mox/Dragon. It's skill auto on Van or Rearguard Circle. When it attacks, CB1, call a card from our hand to Rearguard Circle, and then this unit gets an additional 5k until the end of battle. So the actual 5k is pretty cool. I know if you're on an Excel Circle, an additional Excel Circle with this, just helps you hit a nicer number. It's more than like a 10k to guard against a Protect or Excel clan if you're facing one. On top of that, just extends your plays. Make sure that, maybe you don't have it in hand, the ability to really come off and get those 4 or more calls during the turn, but this will really allow you to do that. And there's a lot of cards that bounce back to hand to the combo really well. I'll show those in just a moment, but this card really just extends your plays and kind of allows you to do multiple attacks, kind of like Gurgit in general. So I really actually like this card. Moxlash is very good card. Again, just like a very good clan. Generic support is just so good in this clan. Next up, kind of an odd ratio here, but I am running 2 of Sagamore. When placed from hand, CB1, Soul Blast 1, draw a card and call a card from our hand to Rearguard. This has been around since the beginning, just really easy card. Just nice. This again just extends plays. If you call it off of Moxlash, you can call another thing, just extending your play. Drawing a card is nice too. Maybe you get that extra call, can call something else. Just this whole deck just filters, calls, draws. That's all it really does. And Sagamore kind of helps us get there. And it's also a Soul Blast, so it's not too hard to do that. And we have a couple things in the deck too that do activate when placed from hand or when called from an ability. So this kind of enables it if we have both key pieces in hand. So I like that. Next up, just the one of this guy over here. This card I think is pretty slept on, honestly. This is Knight of Flying Rings Edmund. Its skill, when it attacks, put another rearguard into the soul, and this unit gets an additional 10k until the end of battle. At the end of that battle, return this unit to our hand. So it basically partners well with Mock Slash because we can bring this back to hand, swing with Mock Slash, put this back down, get another card back up, you know, just so on and so forth. Like it's this. The extra 10k helps you survive when triggers maybe shut you off, so I really like that. And it's also, when placed on Guardian Circle for Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, this guy gets an additional 10k shield, so making us a little bit more bulky. Just as a one of, I find this is fine. Like, I think that this is a little bit slept on in general in the clan, and I like just teching one in here. And then next up, just for another one of, you can kind of play with the grade 3 ratios also. Like, don't take this for, you know, absolute 100% set in stone. You have to do it this way. If you find that you'd like something a little bit more, totally go for it. I like this guy over here, Full Cavalier Dragon, just because it's an act ability, so basically your opponent has to take this out. You Soul Blast 1, call the top card of your deck to rearguard circle, and then our Vanguard gets 5k. It's helping us satisfy that call, that additional call, the 4 quota, but on top of that, it's giving our Vanguard that 5k, bringing our Vanguard up to a 32k, potentially even more with some other cards in here too, so I really like that. Just makes it harder for your opponent to guard, especially with no Sentinels. Like, you start playing a numbers game that actually really matters, which is nice, so there's no, you know, over-triggering out of that as well in this format, which I really like. So yeah, I think Full Cavalier Dragon, you can bump it if you want, but I just think the top call, you know, random card, I've called triggers way too many times off this to really, you know, be like, oh, this is a great card. So I do like it though. I think it does deserve a spot just because of that 5k, and really tells your opponent you have to get rid of this, otherwise I'm going to just make a harder number for you to guard every single turn with my Vanguard. Moving along into the grade 2s now, I'm going to start off with 2 of our Aglavales. So I know what you're thinking, wow, Aglavale, best card. Like, I'm just going to be completely honest, I don't have more of this card at the moment. I'm looking forward to the reprint for it. Just didn't really need it, I felt like, for so long. I always played with 2. That was just the ratio I kind of worked with. Sold an additional 2 and they were really, really high, and I don't really regret it, but I think that this deck really does work with 2. Like, this card is basically the same thing as Edmund, but a little bit different. When placed on Van, we get the CB1, look at 3 cards on the top of our deck, and then call up to 1 card to rearguard circle, and then put the rest on the bottom of our deck in any order. So that's the only like real difference there. Just not as much shield value as Edmund. But again, when it attacks, put another rearguard into your soul, gets 10k, put this back to your hand. Again, just really works well with Mock Slash, being able to basically swing, clear something, put this back to hand, Mock Slash swings, put this down, get that additional 10k. Again, just really helping you get over some of those triggers. So I'm running that at a 2 of. Moving along then here, just kind of weird again with the grade 2 ratios. I'm going to go into this one first, I think, actually. This is going to be 3 of Kahedin. We're not really using Kahedin for a skill, to be honest. Like, we use a lot of Counterblast in this deck. I'm not doing it for that. I'm doing it for the Hoel kind of pairing, so we can boost our Vanguard, give them an extra 10. So that's why I'm running it at 3 of. It's good when we see it. It's really good when we see it, but, you know, we're not using it for the Counterblast extend. If you need to do it, you can do that. Again, look at the top 3, call a card down. If you have Hoel on rearguard, you have to draw a card. I just don't think we have the spare Counterblast most of the time, and we're really using it as that 10k criteria for our Hoel. So yeah, I'm not going to go too much more into that. You guys have seen that card for a long time now. And then lastly for our grade 2s, actually we have one more grade 2 after this, but this is Knight of Sparring Light Paramore. I would probably swap this for an Aglavale, but this offers a decent option too to really help that hit that quota. CB1 on Van or Rearguard Circle, call a grade 2 or less card from our hand to rear, and draw a card. So, you know, this could result in a counter charge for you off of, you know, spoiler alert, what is it over here? Dindrain. It just can help extend a little bit more too. You know, you place what is it, Sagramore down, call down by, you know, from hands, boom, Soul Blast 1, call something else, just extending out, which is pretty cool. Drawing a card, maybe something that you really needed, boom, you can do it here. And then when placed by a card's ability, this guy gets an additional 5k and a 5k shield until the end of turn. So the Guardian Circle portion of that's just for Gurgit pretty much, but it does kind of work in this deck, and I think this is not a terrible grade 2 ride. I do like to be on that sometimes, so again, I would probably swap it for an Aglavale if you had an extra, but really not a bad substitute either way. And then lastly, I am just running one of these. I know this deck feels like it's teched out, but it just works. I don't know. I've tried different ratios and stuff, and I find that I really, you know, I just have a good time with this. One place, this is going to be, I'm sorry, Knight of Strong Favors. How do you say this again? Berengaria. I think that's how to say it. Basically, you can CB1 to counter Soul Charge 1, or you can Soul Blast 1 to counter charge 1. One placed by a card's ability, you get to perform one of those. So place it down by an ability, basically counter charge. Like, we're always going to be counter charging in this deck. Nothing else to really say here. We do go through a lot of counter blasts. And then, like I mentioned before, we are really going for the Hoel play here. The Hoel is really important to be behind your Vanguard, because when you place it down, if you have Cahaden on the field, that unit in that same row gets an additional 10k. So you just went from a 27k, you know, from its own effect with the Prominence Glare, you went to a 37k. On top of that, you know, could get an additional 5k from the, what was it, Full Cavalier Dragon. Just making really, really nice numbers overall. And again, you can't use a Sentinel, so our real main goal is just buff up our Vanguard, poke with a bunch of other things, get them to waste hand, and really take a gamble with the Vanguard swing. So I think this really helps us enable it. I don't, you know, really use it for the synergy between, like I said, Cahaden and this guy with the draw, you know, call off the top. But if you need to, you know, if you have this spare Counterblast, totally go for it. Just not a bad option as well. Next up over here, we're looking to be as consistent as possible, and we don't have a top 7 searcher like Spectral Duke or Gurgit, but this really does, you know, I find that we don't really 100% need it. This is Dawning Knight Gorbaduck, so it's skill basically the top 5 searcher. Find one grade 3 off the top 5. If you did find one, add it to hand, you ditch a card. Also, when you during your turn, if 2 or more of your rear guards were called this turn, we get an additional 5k, so a very easy 5k to kind of satisfy later in the game, which is nice. Again, there's so many good grade 3s in here that, you know, you might have Prominence Core in your hand, or Prominence Glare in your hand, but boom, pop them down, you still find some great support units and can really work out well for you. Moving into our last grade 1 now, we are actually looking at 3 of Dindrain. So Dindrain is actually really nice because, like I said, we're looking to countercharge in this deck. I don't know what else to really say it. We have so many grade 3s that use great countercharge, counterblast abilities. So I think that just extending it a little bit further with her just makes it worth it. You can call it off Sagamore, Mock Slash. You can call it off so many different things in this deck, off of Prominence Glare himself. So yeah, a lot of ways to get your counterblast back and alive. And I think that, you know, out of 3 of it, it's sitting nice in this deck. And then lastly, we're going to do a starter over here. Just want to mention that. And then for our trigger lineup, a little bit interesting. 4 heal, I don't think there's any debate there. 4 heal, you can put the heal guardians in when they come out. We're going to do 4 of the perfect guard PGs there, the draw PGs. I'm actually going 6 crit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let me see if I have the easiest way to showcase that. And then 2 fronts. I think the fronts, because we go wide in this deck, are just good. You need crit more than you need fronts, but in Gold Paladin, I've always been a fan of like Rainbow. I know in Spectral Duke, you know, you probably go full on a crit in that, but I always like to sneak in a couple fronts, especially in Gold Paladin. Like you're just swinging over and over. You know, other units kind of get those benefits off of that. You know, your Vanguard shouldn't be your last swing in this deck, so I think that you can benefit off that front, and that could be, you know, that little extra straw that broke the camel's back. So that's just my personal trigger lineup. You can do it any way you want. If you want to go full on crit, you want to go full on front, or just like a straight up rainbow, that's totally fine too. So let's get into a test hand. I'll show you guys how this deck kind of plays out and my vision of it. All right, let's shuffle up over here and get started with that test hand. Overall, like I said, this is a really fun deck. There's no reason to really run this boss unit over some of the other ones. I think Spectral Duke probably is the best boss unit in Gold Paladin at the moment, even with Prominence Glare coming out, or whatever his name is, or Prominence Core. I still think Spectral Duke's a little bit better, just consistency-wise and whatnot. But overall, this is still really fun, and this is basically a master like class on like why this clan is so good. It's just all the generic support is just amazing. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. Let's see what we got. All right, so we got a 1. Ooh, we got a lot of 1s. I'm gonna put back 3 just because I need a grade 2. I want to dig a little bit deep. You don't want to get grade stuck in this. 1, 2, 3. All right, so we don't have the worst things in the world. Let's see what we can kind of get accomplished here. All right. Also, we do have a case tournament for my locals. I'll post the description down below. Going to be up to 40 people entering. It's going to be on Long Island, New York. This is going to be a full case of lyrical melody. So if you guys are interested, want to say hi, want to try your chance at winning the case tournament, come by. All right, so let's see. We are going to stand and draw for our turn. We're going to pretend we go first. We're going to ride into the Gorbaduck, draw off of that, and we are also going to search the top 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We do get the Prominence Glare, which is really nice, so let's do that. I'll discard something from my hand as well. Let's see, what do I want to discard? Really bad grade 2 ride, but I guess for now, let's just ditch the shield value. Let's see if we can be aggressive. We can take some damage to make our grade 3 turn really well, but let's go pass it over to our opponent. Boom, took damage for our turn. We're going to stand and draw now for our turn. All right, let's unfortunately ride into her. Nothing too crazy that we can even do right here, so there's no early push, but that's alright. We conserve our hand size and such. Let's swing at our opponent. Boom. Alright, Sagamore. And we are then going to pass it over to our opponent. Let's take 2 damage. 1, 2. Boom. Okay. Stand and draw. We don't really have the whole Kaden thing going on, but I'll show you guys how easy this really is to just fill your field immediately. Boom. We're going to go into that. I'm going to get my Excel 2 marker there. Draw off Excel 2. And then skill. When this unit is placed on Van, look at 4 cards, top of our deck. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see, what else do I want to call down? Nothing too crazy, actually. I think I'm actually just going to call the Gorbaduck, just because I really want to... Oh, you put them at the bottom of your deck, just because I want to make sure this is as powerful as possible. So we got 1 satisfied this turn. We are... You know, let's draw into something. Let's call down Soul Blast. We're going to call the Dindrain from hand. And then we are going to, again, Soul Blast. Let's draw and see if we can get something else. Oh, jeez, I forgot I had a Percival back here. Kind of sucks, but okay. Kind of bless 1. Discard a card from our hand. Don't have an Aglavale to discard, unfortunately. I don't think we really need another Sagamore. Actually, we could do the Sagamore. We don't need another Max Slash. That's what we don't need. Then we're going to pop down another circle right there. We're going to draw off of that. So we do get the Aglavale now. We're going to search our deck for Aglavale. So it's actually not terrible. It's actually not a bad thing at all. So we got 1. And then I'll call the second one down and we'll proceed. And irregardless if we were facing Force or not, what do I want to do here, actually? I'm actually going to move this back. I'm going to call this down. Yeah, let's do this. It's actually a little bit weird, but yeah, it could have been a little more ideal. I should have called this down first, but overall, still not bad. We can still salvage this over here. I want to do it. Yeah, we want to swing this column first. Okay, boom, swing into them for 19k. We are then going to swing here. We're going to pop this back to hand, extra 10k. It's fine, goes back to hand. Oh, whoops, that goes into soul. This goes into hand. Sorry about that. We are then going to swing here. Same deal, this pops back into hand. We are then going to swing with our Mox Slash Dragon, CB1, call a card. Let's call that down. Boom, okay. Actually, we are going to call down, that's what I was saving it for. Sagamore down, we're going to Soul Blast 1. And then we're going to get down the Aglavale. So we have a lot of attacks here, and we'll have enough fodder to fuel him over here as well. Next up, we are going to swing with our Prominence Glare. We called over 4 this turn, super easy. CB1, discard a card from hand. I could get this back, I could recur it, but it's just such a good card. I think I might actually do that just because the shield value will probably need it for next turn. We're going to swing, this is an extra 15k, so let's think about this for a second. This is 13, this is going to be 27, 27, alright, 10, 7's 37, 5, yeah, it's going to be 42k, I believe. No Sentinels, let's do it. 1 and 2, boom, 2 crit. Again, even if that didn't hit, like, we just attacked a bunch of times on top of that, you still have these other attacks as well, so we're going to put this into Soul over here. So, I mean, this is kind of how the deck plays out. You want to do that again, filter again with Percival, just go even wider, just smash on your opponent's gate every single turn. Sorry for the little misplays here, I was getting a little mixed up for a second, but it's always harder to play through these things when you're talking, rather than just sitting there thinking, you know, in tournament or whatever, so sorry for that. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed, make sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is Alex from Team Generations, signing out.